Yeah, welcome, Dr. Kalirajan, for this discussion. I was going through your profile, which is very profound, and it is spanning across 33 years. You started with a government organization, if I'm right.
Yeah,
Then you moved into L&T, managing critical projects. And then from there, you moved to L&T Project Management Institute. So it is a long journey, and within that, I saw three major pivots, career pivots, which is quite interesting. And that can be because somebody moving from core project management to academics
yeah,
and being in the limelight, that is a different career path.
correct.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm really interested to get to hear from you the major ingredients or your qualities that helped you to traverse this path very positively, which can be a role model for many budding and middle level managers to emulate. So we'd like to hear from you.
first of all, thank you very much, Mr. Abreshan, for somehow searched me and then picked up for today's discussion. It's my pleasure to share with all your audiences. I'm sure the life journey which I'm going to describe now will be inspirational and interesting to many people to take a lead. Well, if I have to start my career, I hail from a small village near to Madurai in Tamil Nadu, where I did my elementary education. So that place is still a village. I mean, because I keep visiting a place, once in 6 months. It's the same village where I lived about 40-45 years back. It's the same village now. So from there, I moved on to city Madurai for my schooling. Then, of course, when I went for my engineering, I came to a place near to Chennai. So those days, of course, as you know, that there was no telephones. I talk about early 80s, when I entered into engineering. But somehow the engineering education went on so well because I happened to join a self-financing college in Tamil Nadu, and that was the first batch of engineering students, because those colleges were just getting opened in 1984, and we happened to be the first batch of engineers, where you can understand that there is no seniors to direct you, or guide you, mentor you. There were nobody except
Yeah.
for your own lecturers and professors, who many of them were fresh to the profession, of course, maybe just finished their graduation or a post graduation and came into teaching. So I started my career engineering education like that. Then once I completed in 88, by God's grace, I was a university topper from University of Madras. But unfortunately, you say blessing in disguise, it is the reverse of that. There were nobody who were ready to give me a job. Almost about 6 months after my graduation, I was struggling to get a some place to sit and learn something. So finally, I could get hold of an architect in Chennai, with whom I started my career, learning something about construction, planning, and all these things. In the meantime, of course, my applications were there, pending with BRC, Baba Atomic Research Center, which the interview was conducted in 1988 August itself, but all the recruitment started in 1989. So I moved to Rajasthan as of my first posting with Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited in 1989. So that is when I moved out of the state.
Yeah.
I cannot forget that moment, like when I have to travel by train to Madhya Pradesh and then get down there, and from there you take another train and go to a place called Kota in Rajasthan. And in the entire journey, I was not knowing Hindi at all.
Okay.
That was the beauty.
Okay.
And the people there, they cannot talk in English. The only word I knew those days Hindi was मुझे हिंदी नहीं मालूम.
Okay. Yeah.
So with that, somehow I landed and started my journey. And those days, we joined almost 15 people joined together, all youngsters across from all over India. And all of them were toppers, either college toppers or university toppers. You can say that all the creams were there together. And it was a wonderful journey to start with. There were so many people, with the same kind of intellectual capability, all from civil engineering background, from various universities. So I happened to get a role to construct the residential accommodation for the nuclear scientists and nuclear engineers. So I started with residential facilities construction, which happens to be a real good starter for me in my career. In the sense, all my colleagues who were involved at that time in constructing the main reactor or nuclear power plant, they couldn't learn so easily the contracts and contract cycle and the full life cycle of a contract. Since I joined as a site in charge for the residential facilities, all your contracts were hardly 1 year or 2 years contract. So I could see the entire life cycle of a contract. So that gives you a real confidence in terms of handling a contract, in terms of administering the contract, and how do you read between the lines. So this triggered interest in me to learn more and more. So within about a year after joining in Rajasthan, I took up a PG diploma course by correspondence from Annamalai University and started learning business management and business administration. So which gave me a kind of an advantage when you are sitting across the table for discussion. Your thoughts are more focused, and you are able to clearly visualize in terms of business angle. So that gives you a weightage when the next promotions happens and the performance appraisal happens. So the life started like that. I moved on with my career. At the same time, I kept on learning something new. So after I did my PG DBM from Annamalai University, then all my colleagues, we were all together, all budding young engineers, unmarried that time, most of them, almost all of them. So we thought of going in for MBA. So everyone went and jumped into a IGNOU MBA course. So in 1992, we all jumped into IGNOU MBA course. So I couldn't continue that and complete my MBA, but I did my diploma in financial management, which again helped me to analyze the situation and contribute to the company in terms of business finance planning and all. But it went on up to 1992. And then in 1992, I went to my boss and then said, look, enough is enough. Now I want to learn a little more than that. So I have seen a full life cycle of a contract handling for small contracts. Now I want to learn something new, and I want to learn something nuclear. So he conceded to my request and then shifted me to from the residential sector to main plant construction in 1992. And that was a turning point, I would say, in my career. Since I learned the tricks of contract handling, after getting shifted to the main plant, I could take the entire big contract handling in my hands, and that gave me an identity in the company. Though technically, also you have challenges in constructing a nuclear reactor compared to constructing residential flats. So that is one side, and technical challenges were so easy because all of us were cream of universities. So, but the handling a big contract, that was a big challenge for me, and the experience which I had gained in the first 4 years, that has really helped me to move forward. And that gave me an identity. In fact, when I took over the contract handling at that young age, uh, the contract was undergoing a lot of challenges. In fact, there were disputes, there was EOT, that is extension of time, and claims. At one point of time, I was shuttling between Kota and Mumbai for a lot of negotiation discussions, committee meetings with respect to claim settlement. So people used to say, I was posted in Mumbai, coming to Rajasthan only on tour, though it was the other way around. So at that time, I thought that I should learn something more. So I took up a course, BGL, Bachelor of General Law. That gave me a lot of confidence in handling the contracts legally, especially when it comes to claim settlement and dispute settlement. Though I couldn't complete the course, finally, but in the first year I could learn 2 papers on Contracts Act, Indian Contracts Act. So that also added to my identity into the organization. Yes, he is the person whom we can go and discuss something on contracts or something on contractual provisions. So I got myself involved in setting up contractual clauses, revising the contractual clauses. So though the committee members may be very senior people, but they always pass on the information to me to go through and verify and offer my comments. So I could build up my identity from there. Then it was too long for me in out of Tamil Nadu, and I was getting aged also. Then I thought, okay, let me go and approach the management. I want to again have a change, and possibly I want to come down to South. So with a lot of difficulty, they found some slot in Chennai, and Chennai we were having a design wing, infrastructure design wing. So you can understand that a person started a career from a site execution, from a residential setup to main plant, nuclear power plant construction. After 10 years, I came into infrastructure design.
Okay.
So that is also basically, a civil engineer has to know all aspects of engineering. So that gave me, I was there in the design division for about 2 years. That gave me an opportunity to understand the intricacies in design, civil engineering design. How do you discretize a structure? How do you apply the loads, and how do you analyze the structure? How do you visualize the bending moment, shear force, how the behavior of the structure is going to be? So it is easier for me to pick up those things because you have almost 10 years of site experience by then. It was easy to see how the structure will behave at all. But again, that 2 years gave me another challenge. The Kudangulam nuclear power plant, which was started in 1988, somehow it got stalled for a longer period. So it's getting started again in 1999. So the management came out with a lot of requirement of infrastructure planning for the Kudangulam setup. So we were a small team at Chennai office. I mean, 3 architects and 3 structural engineers. That's all. And we were already loaded with so many other projects, but this came as a very big chunk of work which we need to handle. So then I took a challenge like, why don't we outsource it? Why should we do everything internally? So when you have expertise outside, why don't we get that, expertise pulled up through certain contracts? Then I came to understand that within the organization, there is no contract conditions available for handling consultancy contracts. We have been having general conditions of contract for works contract, EPC contracts, purchase contracts, but there was nothing available for consultancy contract. So when there is no any condition available, your proposals of outsourcing the consultancy is going to be knocked off. So before putting up the proposal, I need to write down the contractual conditions for NPCIL to handle consultancy contracts, which has been further developed, and it has been followed even today. The same spade work which I initiated in 2000, that is going on even now. So that was a turning point for me to contribute something to consultancy contract. So in 2001, what has happened is like my bosses, there were two bosses, one chief architect and one senior civil engineer. Both of them were retiring. So NPCIL came out with the proposal to move this particular division to Mumbai. At the same time, Kudangulam project works were about to be kicked off.
Okay.
So that time, our chairman and managing director, of course, he knew me personally because when I moved from Rajasthan, he was a director over in Rajasthan. So he said, okay, instead of coming to Mumbai, better you go back to project and handle the projects. So 2001, I moved to Kudankulam, and up to 2015, the entire project life cycle of any big power plant, which can happen, for about 14 years. I handled many phases of it and witnessed almost everything what has happened since scratch, from excavation to generating the power. So that was a wonderful experience, I would say. In that journey, of course, I had many things to share, which in the course of our discussion, I'll share it. So this happened up to 2015. Then I took a call. Okay, unfortunately or fortunately, I was on a fast track in the company, so I was getting saturated at one point of time, and I thought of tasting, how corporates work. Okay, I have seen the government side, and I thought of tasting how the corporate works, though they are into contractorship, but a corporate life should be different from a government lifestyle. So this at the same time, L&T also wanted somebody who has got similar kind of experience to handle their nuclear business development. So I took up that opportunity, and after joining L&T, I was handling about for 5 years. I was handling global nuclear business development, where I could develop a beautiful relationship with Americans, Russians, and of course French, because these three people are the biggest technology owners in the nuclear field across the globe, major technology owners, and all three of them are trying to have businesses in India. Of course, Russians are already having a business, but other two people are already trying to have a business in India. So in this 5 years period, I moved so closely with all of them, and then brought up a good relationship between their organization and L&T. So then came the big hit of pandemic. So pandemic, brought big economics, instability in all the countries, all of us know. So I thought, okay, this foreign collaboration is going to have a break now. The projects which are going to be launched under foreign money will have some, time lapses now. So in this period, I just wanted to, taste my academic interest. So this is how my journey got shifted to Institute of Project Management. And last 1.5 years, I'm there as a deputy dean, handling corporate training on various topics of project management.
And when did you find time to go for your doctorate in concrete technology?
Very apt question, I would say. As I've been telling that, I went for PGTBM, then I did diploma of financial management. I joined BGL. So all these things, I was a continuous learner, I would say. So what has happened is in 2007, one of the colleges, engineering colleges, they invited me as a chief guest for their civil engineering association inauguration. So I just went there. I saw that along with me, 4 people are sitting on the dais. So all of them were doctors, doctorates, professors from various universities. So I was the only person who doesn't have a doctorate, designation. And but the people started addressing me as a doctor. So I was feeling a little guilty. So then I said, why can't I add that DR to my name? So in 2007, I was only a bachelor degree holder, not even having a master's degree. So then I thought, okay, let me do something first. Let me enter into a master's degree and then go for a PhD. So similar to this situation, while searching on the internet and all, I found one of my old professor who was heading a civil engineering department in one of the colleges in Coimbatore. And when I just contacted him just like that, and he immediately called me as a keynote speaker for an international conference, which was handled by their college. So I went there and delivered the keynote speech. After that, when we were sitting across, then he said, "Why don't you do PG?" I said, "Fine, let me see." So those days, Anna University Chennai got divided into 5-6 segments. One was operating from Coimbatore. So this Coimbatore Anna University branch came out with MS external registration, MS by research. So my old professor said, "Okay, I can be your guide. You just apply for it." So I applied, went for the interview, gave my presentation. Everything was through. Suddenly, the university came out with abandoning that course itself.
Okay.
So everything went not everything was not smooth. So I said, it is not written for me. PG is not written for me. Let me concentrate if I can do MBA and all, something like that. But my professor, he was very, very sound. I would say very great faith on God. He said, "Don't worry, it will come out. Something will come out. University cannot close down." And after 1 month, university came out with a scheme. Instead of MS, they converted into MTech by research. So I downloaded the brochure. I went through the brochure. I saw that there is a clause that you can register for integrated PhD. So that means the research work which you take up in your PG as MTech research, the same line you continue to do the research in an advanced manner and complete your PhD. So I applied for integrated PhD and got admitted also. I happened to write entrance exam for that and got selected. Then also my guide was telling, you better apply for integrated PhD. Don't stop at MTech. Once you complete your MTech, that time you can take a call whether you want to continue with your PhD or not. But right now you take admission in integrated PhD. Don't restrict yourself to MTech. So that was a good suggestion. Afterwards it came out to be a very good suggestion. So I did my MTech. I wrote 12 papers. In the span of 2009 to 2011, I wrote 12 papers at that age, and completed my MTech by research. Did the research on self-compacting concrete. The research part was a little bit easier for me because I was doing that work at my site. I was developing a self-compacting concrete for a nuclear power plant requirement. So I was already into it in the development of concrete, and it is whatever experiment I'm going to do, it's going to substantiate my findings. Theoretically, it's going to substantiate my actual experimental findings. So that is how it started. So finally, I completed my PhD, and after I could add DR prefix to my name, a lot of colleges have picked me up as a board of studies member, governing council member, or academic council member. And many invitation used to come to me for going and delivering lectures. So this is how my academic interest started. So even today, I'm a board of studies member, an academic council member, and governing council member for many colleges in Tamil Nadu. So I keep contributing to the younger generation in terms of finalizing the syllabus, adding some new things, what industry requires for them.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So this is another episode of creating and connecting the dots. If it is just connecting the dots, means it can be by accident also. But yes. I see a proactiveness to see beyond the the immediate future, and proactively taking steps. And so I saw two disappointments. Okay, one is the pandemic striking when things were almost through, and in the longer run, that was a blessing in disguise. And the second one, the cancellation of the PhD program, the master's program, Then,
Yeah.
okay, the integrated PhD program happened. So
Yes.
that is a blessing in disguise. So great roadmap for, and it is a very varied type of experiences. When the public sector, then you get into the corporate world, and within the corporate world itself, you get into the academic angle. And what can be the next one? Maybe did you author any books?
Ah, yes, I already started actually.
Yeah. Okay.
I've named my book already, Do or Die.
Oh, okay.
So it is half the way through. Maybe, another few months' time, I should complete it.
It is on
So that,
management or engineering, or it's a
no, not into
combination.
subjects at all, not into subjects, but I want to combine, whatever I have been, telling right now as my experience, how one can adopt. I'm not going to tell what exactly my experience is all about, but the lessons learned from my experience, I'm going to put it out, so that people can either do or die. Either you take up the challenge or don't take up the challenge. So if
Okay.
you take up the challenge, there are ways and ways to move forward. That is what my book is all about. Uh, Most probably, some of the management concepts will come into play. Project management. I view my life itself as a project, and the project management is one of my lovely affectionate area. So everything I view it as a project. Whether it is planning for a vacation or planning for your studies, everything is a project. Once you take it up as a project, you do planning, you assess the risk, you plan your mitigation. So all those things happens. So project management, I feel that it is not only to handle big projects or small projects for the office. Even your life is a project. All your efforts in the personal life is also can be managed like a project management.
Yeah, and I personally feel that, okay, if somebody can pick up project management very early in their life or career itself, the impact is going to be much better.
Certainly,
So
certainly.
yeah. So if somebody has, even a student, if they can do a work breakdown structure for their
Correct.
curriculum and then break it down and estimate,
Yeah,
automatically the pressure is going to be there, and then they won't deviate from it. So
correct,
as
correct.
you rightly said, it is definitely a way of life, and if somebody gets introduced to it very early in life,
Yeah.
the returns will be much better. I
In fact,
fully.
there are few more turning points in my life which I can express here so that it will be a lesson for the viewers. See, in 2011 in Japan, there was a nuclear accident. But unfortunately, that nuclear accident has hit Kudungalam project in 2011 August. There were a lot of public agitation, and the project came to a halt.
Okay.
In fact, for about 6 months' time, we were not allowed to enter my office complex. We were operating like work from home today. We were working from home for those 6 months. City, not going to office. Of course, it was not connected like this, but our entire team was working from home. So, point is that particular situation posed a challenge for me personally, in the sense. I was being one of the Tamil speaking, senior people over there. I was always moving around with state government officials and all for various other issues. So that connectivity has forced the management to put me as a chairman of public awareness committee.
Okay.
And chairman, as a chairman of public awareness committee, the challenges were huge. The strategizing the entire public awareness to convert the image of the project, image of nuclear engineering or nuclear power project situation in the minds of the people. That was real big challenge. Of course, I was attached with a big team, and there were mentors and guidance from the top management. But I was given a free hand by the management. So those period, I learned, getting into media, making videos, editing of videos, creating song, and even if you today also, if I mean proudly I can say that even if you today ring up some officials of Kudangulam project, you get a ringtone, which is a public awareness song, which was during my tenure. I got it composed by a lyricist, and then got it recorded by musicians. So one of those songs is still being played as a ringtone for the entire government officials who are working in the plant. So I learned about video making, video shooting, what are the different difficulties. And those period, almost I would have handled thousands of public, either went to their place or invited them to my place and given lectures. And with all my team members, we would have delivered so many hours of lectures. I personally would have delivered more than 100, 125 lectures on nuclear safety. And so that has also helped me to create an identity in the educational society.
Okay.
Because we used to go and visit colleges, schools, even Rotary clubs, like that. So if you happen to Google my name, Kalirajan Nuclear, in the Google, all the first page will be, you will see so many meetings and so many speeches given, or articles written, or articles in Hindu quoted, something like that.
Okay.
So much of identity creation, that situation has helped me. Somebody would have thought, it's a crisis, why I should get into it. It may damage my name. I may not be successful, but I took it as a challenge. And, we did a lot of things, which actually those days, if I can share it, the report goes up to Prime Minister's office every day. What is that we have done? So to that level, it was being monitored, and being on that kind of, monitoring point, I think you need to be really, really tough.
Yeah, that's right. So it is maybe a similar situation is where the Singur project of this Tata car project, they failed actually.
Correct.
This is when the locals teamed up with the politicians. They became a very powerful stakeholder, and which could have been managed at the fraction of a cost of the loss actually, but then instead of that they lost around 700 crores by shifting the whole plan from there to Gujarat.
Correct.
So that is great exposure of external stakeholder management.
External stakeholder yes.
Management. So without knowing psychology. Yeah. So that is great actually. I'm sure that, so thanks for your time, for sharing your hard-earned lessons and experiences over 33 years in almost 30 minutes with us. And I would love to get back to you to discuss more project management related stuff. I'm sure that similar to the stakeholder management, you would have managed multiple risk, known risk, unknown risk. Now the trend is more about unknown risk.
Correct.
Even known unknown is gone. It is now unknown unknowns. Unknown unknowns is the trend. So I'm sure that you'll be able to add a lot of value in a discussion around the advanced risk management based on your experience.
Surely.
Thank you very much for your time. And what is the message, the final message you want to give to the budding engineers who are in a dilemma, whether to get into a full-time project management career? That is one. Then, okay, we have another segment of engineers who got into projects. They're at the starting point of their career. Maybe, especially in the civil domain, the initial assignments may not be that lucrative, or it may not be in air-conditioned environments. So
Right.
always other disciplines may look more lucrative for them. So what is your message to that segment of engineers and freshers?
My message to them is, don't look at the earning potential as of today. You don't look at how much salary you are going to get immediately after your 4 years of degree. Your IT colleagues may be earning, handful of salary and sitting in a air conditioned office. Look at their lifestyle after 40 years of age, and look at the kind of experience, kind of learning which you would have got by getting it your own way. And after 40 years, your earning potential will be much higher than them, certainly. And your lifestyle is going to be totally different. And when I talk about civil engineering or mechanical engineering or electrical engineering who are getting into projects, a live project compared to IT project is totally different, because you're going to deal with human faces. In IT project, wherever I go, I used to tell my civil engineering or my core engineering people, look at IT people, they find it very difficult to face the people and then deal with them, because they are always glued onto the screen, unfortunately. But you are going to glued onto the eyes of human beings. You're going to deal with technology. You're going to deal with the labor force. You're going to deal with a team of people, very big team of people when you are entering into big projects. So this learning is going to help you. And another thing is, project management is such a wonderful area which does not only limit to planning and scheduling and preparing PERT chart or a CPM chart. That is not project management. Whatever I have shared today, I have not told that I have been into making a Gantt chart or a PERT chart. No, nothing. I have not shared, though I have done that in my initial phase of life. Even I've learned that also, like effort cost and so many other methods are there for preparing the monitoring and all, before even getting to know earned value management. So the learning goes parallelly, but at the same time, the exposure what you will be getting in the project management is almost all areas of project management, whether it is contracts or technology management. Today, technology management is a big area, or procurement management. So it's not only planning and scheduling. And I feel within first 10 to 15 years of your experience, you should get exposure to all these areas, so that you become a complete project manager after at least 10 to 15 years of your experience. And if you're thinking that you will become a full-fledged project manager immediately after your graduation, I think that's a very, very wrong expectation. You need to get into the field to learn the things, and it takes time for learning. Okay, many things we can learn from others' learnings, but certain things we have to put our hands and soil our hands to learn. Then only it will be, you can be a master in that. So that is my advice to youngsters. Don't look at immediately after 4 years of a graduation. Look at what are you going to do from then up to 40 years of your life, because your journey is going to start, and you have to keep up your career growing up to 60 or 70 years of your age. So 40 years of life only you need to plan, and never stop learning, whether you do a degree or not a degree, but keep learning something.
Yeah,
that is my message.
That is wonderful. So I don't want to add anything to it, because it will be improper. Okay, so you have given a wonderful message, and I fully agree with it, because unless you experience things, you will not have the authenticity when you talk about it.
Correct.
Okay, so and in real life also, I'm seeing this, because fortunately, I could come across at least around 15 to 17,000 project managers during the last 15 years or so, as part of project management trainings. And when we go to the Middle East, the majority of the crowd is from the construction, the EPC segment.
Correct.
And it is no joke for them. They are pretty serious about what they're doing, because on error, the impact of an error is very, very high.
Yes. Yes.
And I still remember one South African project manager coming to me during the breaks, and he was telling me his issue was, he had to plan the dormitories for workers to stay, their visa processing. He had to go to that extent. And
Yeah.
his day starts at 4 a.m. and they wind up by around 11 a.m. because otherwise in the desert, the temperature will be so high.
Yes.
And you look at these guys, they are physically so fit. Most of the civil engineers are physically so fit.
Correct. Correct.
When compared to other disciplines, because they are climbing up they're always on their toes.
Yes.
And pretty serious about what they're doing. Whereas I'm not belittling other disciplines, but then correcting an error in construction is totally different from deleting a few lines and then adding some lines which nobody will even know about it. Whereas here,
Yes.
a bulldozer has to come and the entire world will see, the demolition and
Correct.
stuff like that. So that is a great opportunity. But then many times in the construction, what I'm seeing is they stop learning things.
Yeah.
Okay, construction project managers, the moment they get a job, they are quite satisfied with following whatever is delegated to them. They are not very proactive in learning new things and stuff like that. Maybe there was dearth of opportunities at that time, but now a lot of technology is getting into the construction field, like the BIMs and the building information modeling, and it is a lot of implementation of technology. We can see that. So construction is also getting high tech.
Yes.
Now. So there's a great opportunity, and it was a wonderful discussion. And thank you very much for accepting my request. And I'm sure that we'll continue this association further.
Thank you.
Further.
Thank you very much for the opportunity given. I'm sure some message is given to the viewers. We'll continue to collaborate and share our experiences together.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much.